Okay, well, there's a little arrow on this head, and the lines going across from front to back is the only way this will go on. It won't go on. It won't go on sideways, but it can go on with that arrow either pointing up or pointing down. There's a little arrow drawn on this head. I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the video. Here, let me get over better lighting maybe. So if you look, you can see a little arrow there on this new head. The old one didn't have that arrow. I don't know if that's supposed to go up or down, but I also don't see what difference it makes. The head is completely symmetrical. You can't put it on sideways, but you can put it on with that arrow going up or the arrow going down. I don't know. I think I'm going to point the arrow towards the exhaust and just put it on and see what happens, because I do not see what difference that could possibly make. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have it pointing down towards the exhaust. Unless I can find something saying do otherwise. Okay, I'm going to do that. Okay, I'm going to put this cylinder head on there. The only thing I could find about the arrow is in some motorcycles they put an arrow on there that points towards the exhaust port on the piston. They're going to put an arrow on that. And that's just to make sure that it lines up in there so that the rings, the opening in the rings doesn't point towards the port or an exhaust. You don't want the openings of the rings to be hitting the port. But I don't know. I'm just going to put this arrow going towards the exhaust port because I really don't know what difference it makes. These fins, you want to line up with the wind. So they're going to be horizontal. So I'm just going to put that going straight down towards the exhaust port. I don't really know what difference it'd make. So I couldn't find anything on the internet describing how to put that on. But it goes on there nicely this way. I'm going to put the head nuts on there and tighten them down with my torque wrench. And then all I'll have to do is put the spark plug in and the exhaust. Okay, so I put all these nuts on here with just a deep socket and just did hand tight. They're all hand tight. I have an inch-pound torque wrench, so I had to do the conversion on my phone. I just Googled inch pounds to Newton meters, or Newton meters to inch pounds, whatever. And then I set this to 203 inch pounds is the same as the 26 Newton meters, I believe. Anyway, this will click when I get to the appropriate torque. I'll probably just snug it down a little bit more since I got a little leverage now. Just snug everything down a little bit more to make sure when I tighten it, it tightens even. Kind of get closer to the appropriate setting. And then I was trying to crisscross as I went. Now see, that one clicked. So when it clicks like that, it means you're to the right. See, it clicks. Wow, that's not near as tight as I thought it would be. I don't really feel like I'm pushing on it that hard. Just using my thumb there. Alright, now I'm going to go all the way around and double check everything. We'll start here. Click. clicks, clicks, clicks there, and clicks there. Now the spark plug is 20, so this was 23 newton meters actually. The spark plug is 26. So the spark plug's a little bit tighter. I believe it's 230 inch-pounds is what that comes out to. So, boy, that just didn't seem that hard to me, but that's what they call for. So I'll put the spark plug in and tighten that down and go from there. I just wanted to mention I did gap this spark plug. I downloaded the manual for the Airconception Nitro 200 and it told me the gap. So I used my feeler gauge to check the gap on the spark plug. So that's an important thing to do. And then I'll get it to the right torque and torque it down into there. Okay. So again, I'm just gonna hand tighten this in place first. And then it's supposed to be 230 inch-pounds rather, 230 inch-pounds for 26 newton meters. So I just reset my torque wrench, and now I'm just gonna tighten it till it clicks. Right there, it clicked. Just double check real quick. That's it. Got my spark plug in there. And all I gotta do is put my exhaust on now. I can put my spark plug wire back on. This has some windings on it. When I put on the little hour meter here, these little windings pick up the eddy currents in the wire, or kind of the magnetic currents in the wire every time electricity goes through it. And then this little digital counter keeps track of how long this engine's running that way. So it's an hour meter. I did not videotape me putting that on there, but that's a handy little thing to have, because right now it's saying 6 hours. So I've had this on for 6 hours. I've flown it quite a bit more than that, but it helps me keep track of my flying hours too. Next thing I'm going to do is put the exhaust on. I have to tighten the exhaust manifold on with an open-end wrench, not a torque wrench. I can't get a torque wrench in there, so I'll just have to kind of feel my way with that part. And then I have to research what the torque is for holding the exhaust onto the engine mounts. So I'll get back to that. All right, here we go. So all I have left is to put this exhaust manifold back on. Let me see if I can show you where it goes here. There's some bolts right here. There's 2 of them. And they hold the exhaust manifold in place. And simultaneously, I also need to put this end, here, let's see if I can, this end right here needs to go on the bottom part of this cylinder here, the exhaust. And that's where this new gasket's going to come in. This was actually leaking a little bit and was part of the reason why I was doing this project here. So I'm going to put that on there like that. Let me see if I can get it to stay on there. Yeah, cool. One thing I did want to mention is these little washers that hold that in place. They're they have these spines on one side. Let me get over here with better light. You can see the snowstorm outside. Anyway, they have these little spines on one side. They have bigger they have bigger teeth on the other side. So the way these work is you use 2 of them in conjunction with each other, and the big teeth go together in the middle, So the big teeth grip the washers together, and then the littler teeth, there's more of them. The littler teeth go against the nut and against the exhaust where it's going up to the gasket. So the little spines go on the outside, and then the bigger teeth that there's fewer of, they go in between the two washers and they grip them together. Just creates more friction, better a better grip to hold the nut in place so it doesn't come loose. Okay, I'm gonna put this on here, and then I guess I need my hands to do it, so I'll just show you real quick after I get it put together. Let's see, maybe you can see this a little bit. All right, so I gotta get both these bolt holes lined up at the same time. We gotta get those two lined up. Man, what a pain in the butt. Okay, so, gosh, not very easy to line up all this stuff at once. That one's kind of lined up. That whole one's in there, that bolt's up there. Gosh. Okay, I got that bolt lined up. Oh crap. Oh crap. Damage that gasket. Come on. Ouch. Okay. Fairly easy, I guess. Alright. Put these on. And then. Okay. This. Huh. That's kind of small for holding this big old exhaust on, but I guess it's the right size. As long as it came off of here. Lining up these two bolts that hold the exhaust on, and then these two simultaneously. Man, that's it's like you gotta kind of tweak the exhaust, and it's under, you know, you're literally using the spring that's in the exhaust and these mounts to kind of maneuver it into place. It takes a little bit of force. Okay, I'll get back when I torque these down. Alright, so this is what I was talking about here. This is the one with the two fancy washers. It's where the exhaust comes out of the cylinder. So you can't get a socket in here to torque these down unless you were to take off this part of the... actually, you still couldn't, because this part is permanently attached to here. So there's no way to get a socket in here for a torque wrench. And I don't even know about an open-end wrench for torquing stuff. I don't know if they make an open-end wrench it's also a torque wrench. So you can't really torque these. You have to just kind of tighten them down and snug them down and hope you're doing it right. And, you know, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So I'm just tightening them. I can only turn them about, probably not even quite a half turn each time I get the wrench on them. Very tight in here. And I'll just get it to a tightness that I think is good. I don't know how else to say that. I don't want to break anything or strip anything out, but I also don't want it to be leaking exhaust. There'll be a little bit of exhaust pressure too, so it'll be slightly pressurized, and it'll be gas and oil mixture. So if that leaks, and I'm just going side to side to make sure I kind of tighten evenly, because it is a gasket. You always want to tighten the gaskets evenly, because if you don't, you can tighten one side down so much that you can't get the other side to the, it'll cause like a bow or a warp, which will keep it from sealing properly. See, I feel like if I tighten any more, I might break something. So that's where I want to call it, because I have definitely snapped a lot of bolts in half. With the leverage of a wrench, you could pretty easily snap something. So I'm going to call that good. Those are very tight. I'm going to find out what torque these are supposed to be at, because I can torque those down with the torque wrench. Well, I couldn't find anything that told me what the torque was for these screws that hold the exhaust on. So here's one of the exhaust screws, and then the other one is up here, which is a lot harder to get to. Also, I have to use this funky little universal joint adapter in order to get up here anyway, so it's kind of tough to use a torque wrench with that. So I'm just going to tighten these down by hand, and hopefully I'll get them, I'll just get them snug. I'll get them as tight as I feel necessary. And you know, they're locking nuts, so they have a little bit of Teflon on the end of the nut that keeps it from coming loose. Kind of like a plasticky, well, it's Teflon. So I'll tighten those down, and this thing will be ready to fire up and test, which I may or may not do today because the weather is nasty. But it'll be the next thing you see on the video anyway. So it'll be fun to run it up. Looking forward to it. Okay, I cleared some snow off my patio here. Got the paramotor outside. It's nasty. Okay, so here's the hitch setup I have. I just got a hitch haul. I made this wooden frame, a couple of U-bolts sticking out. And what it does is the paramotor sits in here. It sits right in this space here. And this concrete stake goes underneath these U-bolts like this. And I just put these through the holes that are already in the concrete stake. And that holds it down tight so that it doesn't move around on me out driving. And so I'm going to put that on here. I'm going to fire it up and test that new cylinder head and gaskets and see if there's any leaks or anything. Okay, I'm going to get it up here and then I'll fire it up. Alright, I got it on here. So the priming system on this is kind of interesting. You open this fuel petcock, you prime it a few times by pushing this bulb. It squirts gas directly into the carburetor. Then you close that petcock. That way you don't let air or extra fuel into the system. Oh boy, I don't know if I can do this holding this camera. Let me get set up here.